know.
Uh-huh.
He definitely is. He told me.
Where are
Yeah.
you, Scott? Are you still in the same spot in Virginia, Richmond?
Yep. Still same spot, Virginia. Looked at 2 storage facilities today. We'll see. So
In Virginia or whereabouts?
in Virginia, yeah, right here in Roanoke, actually. So we'll see. See what waiting for the numbers on them, seeing what they generate revenue wise and all that. And so
Good for
that's
you.
my day. That's my day.
It's a heck of a day, man.
That's right. It's not too bad. So I almost called you this morning because I was up early again. I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about you, Joe. So I was up early.
I was up before 5, so you could have called with no problem.
Should I be worried, Scott?
What's that?
Is there something I need to know?
No, I'm not pregnant or anything like that. Nope.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. All right, everybody, we're gonna get this started. I know we got a light crowd over here, so I don't know how long we'll keep going this for here tonight, depending on what's happening here. I don't know. I can't tell if there's any new people on here right now. Not really too sure, but for all of you joining us, this is the alternative meeting. Where we talk about anything and everything having to do with real estate. We leave landlording to the housing providing meeting, which is going to be, that's next Thursday, right?
Yep.
Correct. Yep. Same time, same place.
Next Thursday night. Yep. Same time, same place. And there's also going to be a general meeting, which is going to be the second Thursday of next month. And does anybody know what that meeting is going to be on or about?
I think that is Pat Gallagher doing a walkthrough rehab, but I believe that is the thing.
Oh, all right. So he's actually gonna be walking through and showing us about rehabbing and everything.
I haven't entirely figured out how that's going to work yet. I think that's the plan. I think there's going to be a rehab in progress and he's going to be on site, but I don't have the details. That's all Pat and Leon, and I have not heard either one of them actually describe it in detail. So,
okay. Well, it'll be interesting. That'll be really good. Pat's got. I know last time I talked to Pat, I think he's got like 14 or 15 flips just waiting to be to start working on. He's so backed up right now, so that'll be an interesting. That'll definitely be an interesting meeting. But yeah, basically here, by the way, there's a small crowd of us here, so we're going to keep this extremely intimate. We're not going to any breakout rooms or anything like that. And then, and myself and Scott, we obviously co-chair this together. Oh my gosh, just out of curiosity, anybody have anything that they're looking for or looking to sell right now? Looking to buy?
Yeah.
I'm looking for self-storage units, I'll say. If the numbers work, I got some more I got to look at that came from a certain individual that's on this call. Gotta look into those a little bit, and then but just looking for storage facilities. I gave a little presentation last week on it, about it, and invited a few people who wanted to with the Storage Rebellion. Pretty good site for good information to learn about self-storage and all that too. So anywhere United States right now. So yep, that's what I'm looking for. And then at some point tonight, I'd like to talk about, I got to give a presentation tomorrow on partnerships, and I want to kind of get everybody's input on partnerships. And I'm not really sure, I'm just going to talk about some different partnerships I've developed. Want to kind of get other people's inputs on partnerships and what they mean to them too. So we'll do that later during this.
It's actually a great topic to talk about, especially nowadays when people are having a tough time trying to find deals. Partnering up, divide and conquer is a great way to find properties. That's actually fantastic. I've got a 2-family in the 19th ward, which I'm probably gonna end up getting rid of. We're asking $70,000. I know it's a 3. I don't know. I can't remember if it's a 3 and a 3 or a 3 and a 2 bedroom. One unit is occupied. One unit is not. It needs work. ARV is going to be somewhere around 120, 130, maybe a little bit more. It's going to go for $70,000. Needs work. So if you're looking for something that's going to be like lipstick or chapstick type work, I don't think this is it. Okay. So, but if you're interested, give me a call or let me know. You can reach me, and I can get you pictures. And I'm also looking for commercial stuff, industrial buildings, and also bigger and smaller projects in regards to houses and singles and multis. Anybody
I'm
else?
Yes, I'm looking for a double and a Rondequoit. If anybody knows of any, let me know.
Okay.
I'm looking to get into a flip. I guess I'm a little fairly open, just trying to get started, get going. I don't know if yours that you have, Joe, would be good for me.
I thought about you, Leslie. I don't know. There's some tight numbers for you.
It did sound a little bit tight, depending on the amount of work it needs.
Mm-hmm. I didn't forget.
So, guess if anybody has anything that I'm open, I might go open to some of the suburbs now. City, suburbs, in the area where I can get a good return. I'm trying to get that first flip under my belt. Can't seem to find anything that seems to be worth it though.
The numbers are
Prices,
insane right now. It's
so
not.
much.
It's not just you. Don't feel bad.
And by the way, Leslie, when we're done with the haves and wants, I want to follow up to see what happened. I wonder what happened after, because when we were talking last, you were right in front of that property.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but we'll follow up with that right afterwards, and then we'll go over Scott's. What Scott, or if anyone else wants to talk anything, or otherwise we'll talk what Scott wants to go over.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Still looking for
Go ahead.
anything off market. I've been looking at the MLS. I've been sending out mailers, looking to get on wholesale lists, and I'm just trying to find something that I can get the numbers to work on comfortably. And I had a few that I put in, but nothing solid. So still looking.
Okay.
All right, we have a fire rehab. I'm sure everybody heard about that one in Garson, 628 Garson Avenue. 3-family. We will pay you $5,000 to take the property. It's pretty rough. So it's for an aggressive rehabber. I mean, hands-on rehabber is very tight numbers. So we will pay you $5,000 to sell the property.
Is it a tear down, Carl?
It can be, yeah.
It's a 3 unit.
It can and cannot be. It's in the eye of the beholder. Let's put it that way. I do fire rehabs. I wouldn't touch it. Okay, but there's somebody out there that's aggressive, full of piss and vinegar, that's ready to go. We'll pay you $5,000 to get started.
How many bedrooms are in each unit?
Three, and huge studio, 3rd floor.
How long ago was the fire?
2 days ago. I'm sorry, 5 days ago.
And you. I'm thinking. Well, let's go. We're starting one ourselves, so I don't mind fire rehab.
Talk about yours. What do you got going?
Well, let's see. We got one going over by the right by Rochester General Hospital, but that one right there obviously wasn't probably nowhere near as bad as yours. I mean, it had some damage, but we got it for an extremely great price. We're gonna put probably 60 50, 60,000 into it, somewhere right around there. If we put more, I don't care. Because ARV is probably around 140 over there all day long right now. So, but yeah, but yours, I mean, yours I'd like to find out just a little bit about, but we can do that offline.
Offline, yeah. Hit me up.
All right. Yeah, no problem.
Scotty, are you still in Virginia?
Yeah, I'll probably be here for another month.
How's he doing?
He's doing good. He still trying to get the medication in balance. It's a struggle, a little bit of a struggle. He's actually back in the hospital. Oops.
Okay.
Actually back in the hospital again. His blood pressure dropped to like 75 over like 59 today.
Wow.
So they rushed him to the
we wish him-
hospital, and we think it was just a one thing that just like it dropped, and he usually runs about 90 to 100 over 50 or 60. So it was just kind of weird. We're testing his blood pressure and got that. He felt fine, so we're not sure what it was. So he's in the hospital now. They're gonna monitor him for a little while. So
wish you well, bud.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. So we think we're gonna
Yeah.
stay here though. We got lots of family around here, lots of things to see around here. It's a nice part of the country, Virginia is. So we're probably gonna probably spend a good part of the summer.
How's
here
the storage? How's the storage environment down there?
now. It's terrible. You don't want to get involved in it. Not at all.
Yes, we do. God wants it all for himself.
Oh, bring it on, man. The more the merrier. A rising tide rises all boats, man. Let's bring it on.
Yep.
So business is good. Rents, man. I don't know how your rent collections are going, Carl, but mine are pretty good. I run about 90%. So not bad. So yep.
I bet you it's a lot easier for you to evict somebody.
Yeah, a little bit easier. A little bit easier to lock them out too, that's for sure. So yeah. So we enjoy it. And finding some good lenders out there too who want to lend money to self-storage. So that's been going well, building those relationships too. So yeah.
The power of association, Scotty. So, around town we see these big, cool RVs, and you pop into my head. It's like,
Yeah. So
anybody else have anything that any has or wants? We're all good here.
I have I'll throw this one out there. This is not what I'm looking to sell. Now I've got somebody who's looking for industrial cold storage anywhere in the US, anything over 60,000 square feet.
interesting.
Wow.
So kind of a stretch, but you never know.
One thing I've never run into. Wow.
It's because they're hot. They're in demand.
Huh.
I guess so. So I definitely want to talk with what Scott wants to go over. That's a great thing, Scott. I just want to find out from Leslie what happened. Because the last time we spoke, Leslie, refresh our memories. You were in front of a house. I think it was in the 19th ward, if I recall. And we went over some of the numbers. And when you went to go look at it, I can't remember where you were price-wise. Can you refresh our memories and tell us what ended up happening with that? Because you actually had to drop off the call because right in the middle of everything, you were right there, and then you had to go inside the house.
Yeah, I was waiting to go in to look at it. But the funny thing about this, I happened to come across it on Zillow. Then when we were trying to find out about it, it seemed like it was up for auction by Hubzu. So that was the first weird thing I thought about it. But when I saw it on Zillow, I think it was saying a price of 59. And I said, well, that's sounds good. The area is not bad. It's it was a 4-bedroom, they called it.
What
4-bedroom,
street was it
2-bath, 1,500 square feet.
Do you remember what street it was? I can't remember.
Ellicott.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Ellicott Street. So I wanted to look at it, but there are quite a few things that needed some work there, and it may have taken about maybe 40,000 of work to really do it all. I know it has a garage that's practically falling over, so that definitely had to come down. Some of the stairs, they got like a little porch thing, porch step in the back, concrete that's falling over a little bit, the front of the porch a little bit. Then there's some things inside that need work. I like the house, and I didn't like pretty much the layout and the woodwork and things in there. I could tell there were some leaks. So I was guessing maybe 40,000 to really get it fixed up good. But since this was now in an auction, I'm not going to go but so high because I don't know. I mean, the value there may be like 120 totally fixed if things work
120 to
well.
130 there you'll get. 120 to
Yeah.
130 right now. What do you know what it ended up selling for?
I don't, I don't remember. I know when it passed 60, that's when I said I'm out. So,
Oh yeah.
But I know it passed 60 before it got into the real heated bidding. So I think it was up, might have been up around 80 or so.
Wow.
But for me, that's too much. I don't.
Where would you have needed to be numbers?
I was wanting to be around 60. 60 would have been good for me. I think I would have doubled that. I think that would have given me a little bit of a buffer for some profit.
That's a tight
I
number.
might be overly cautious. I don't know. Maybe.
60 60 would be extreme. I mean, it's not bad. It's tight, but because if you figured 40, your closing costs, 105 commissions would put you around 113, closing again 114, figure 115, you make 15 capital gains, 32%, your net would have been between 9,800 and about 10,400 bucks. And that's that's without any seller's concessions if you were to flip it.
Yeah. I was just thinking it was too tight. That's how I kind of put my limit at 60.
Good.
Especially when first getting into it, and it kind of passed that. I think the bid. There was one more day of bidding when I went to look at it, and by that next morning it was already at 60. So
yeah. You know, a lot. I mean, I don't know a lot. I've never done an auction. There's just too many people.
I've done a few auctions, mainly, and you guys should check them out. Harris Wilcox auctions. Used to be 8 out of 10 would go for retail or above. Every once in a while you get a good deal, but you didn't know which one would be a good deal. Now, honestly, probably 19 out of 20 are going for over retail, but there's still that one that might be good with Harris Wilcox. Now that I'm not in town playing anymore, I suggest for anybody to go look at them. You can go right online, you can sign up for email updates with them. But one thing I learned, Leslie, with auctions like that, I know you put your number at 60 and a lot of people do that. If you can go to 61, sometimes you'll knock people out because everybody's like, I stop at 60, that's it. If you go like 61, a lot of people just psychologically 60 is a number for them. If you go to 61, sometimes you'll get the deal. Sometimes you're going to do blind bids too, where you have to put in an offer on something. I've had success with just, being just $1,000 over what I thought my limit would be. Still don't go over what's comfortable for you, but like I said, everybody psychologically sets a $60,000 number. If you can go a little bit over that, sometimes you'll get the deal. You'll be surprised. So I've had luck with that. Just food for thought.
yeah.
God, let me piggyback on that. So, with Harris Wilcox, I've done maybe about 12 auctions in many years, right? So big difference between pre-COVID and COVID online versus in person, right? I found that online, they generate a lot higher price than in person, because there's more time and there's more time to think and evaluate. That's my opinion is online. Right now, these things are going over retail, Scott. I mean, crazy. And it's in sync with the general market of, listed properties too. So auctions are in competition with basic MLS properties also. So, it's finding a bargain there. Yeah, like Scott's saying, just track it and it might be a diamond in the rough at some point, but today it's kind of rare versus the older days.
Very true.
Anyone else done, has anyone else done auctions here at all?
One thing I will say, and I'm sorry to dominate this.
Go ahead.
Like auction.com, if you're going to bid on auction.com, talk with Steve Peterson about that first. He's the attorney a lot of us use. He's been involved in instances where people put bids in on auction.com, had to pay the security deposit or earnest money deposit, and then just backed out of the deal just because they couldn't get clean title or they were getting a quick claim deed. And they backed out of the deal or found out there's more wrong with the house than they thought. And in some cases, they're not getting their earnest money deposit back, even though rightfully they should. I know somebody who lost an $8,000 earnest money deposit on a house with auction.com, but he was much happier to lose $8,000 than the potentially $20,000 to $25,000 he was going to lose by closing on the house. So just with auction.com and a few of those auction websites, just, check check with Steve and get his input on those. So
What I thought was good about this one, it was a bank-owned house. So normally with those, you can get a clean title through that, as opposed to some of the other auctions where you don't really know what you're getting.
Leslie, I'm about to jump in on it. Exactly. Bank-owned properties in any auction sites stick with bank-owned, nothing else, right? But that doesn't guarantee a clean, free title. Still do a preliminary title search because there's certain instances where it's not fully free. And Scott's right. So have your attorney involved with checking on a title of a property, but bank-owned property type is what you want to go with. Nothing else. Not pre-foreclosure, foreclosure. No. Bank-owned. It clears most of the title problems, but not everything. So you want to exercise due diligence there.
All right. By the way, does anyone have any questions about anything?
For what it's worth, we had this. I'm glad you brought it up. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, and I gave a couple opinions. But another thing that clears it is tax. Tax foreclosures clear all junior liens, and tax is a senior debt. It's not dependent on order of filing on a tax. It's the tax itself. But we talked about one that I bought, and I knew there was a title issue, and I knew the deed and all of that. And I said I had researched it beforehand. I mean, I ran my own title, but before you thought I was too crazy, before I closed, I had a title company run title and give me a title policy. Now, and before I closed, I had all of the curatives to the title policy in my hand. So it wasn't buying it blind. It took a fair amount of work. I I researched the title. I got a title policy, and I went out and I got all the curatives for the title policy. So when I actually closed, I knew that I had a good deal. And part of it though is that I have done, this was not my first foreclosure and not my first tax foreclosure. And I have great confidence in the superior lien status of property taxes. So I would think that a tax foreclosure is also a good area to look at. But
Joe, when you did that,
even there, you have to look at what's foreclosing, because I've had some that I did not bid on because the tax agency was foreclosing their junior position, their more recent position. They weren't foreclosing their older position, that senior. So you do need to know what you're doing when you're buying anything at auction. Actually, when you're buying anything, but you need to know you need to know something about what you're doing. But yeah, even Monroe County does it. Monroe County was selling tax properties, but they were foreclosing on a junior position on a recent year, and not foreclosing the older years, and the older years would have precedence. Now you could pay them. I mean, obviously, you redeem it by just paying that tax, but that adds to your purchase price.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have anything they'd like to talk about or go over? Have any questions on anything?
I want to make sure what Joe said made sense to everybody. In some cases, you are buying a junior tax lien, but in some cases, going in, what the senior tax liens are that are on there, and you still could really be getting a smoking deal. A lot of people might be scared away of those, but you really need to tread cautiously on that. But if you're buying something, the junior lien is, let's say, $50,000, and the senior lien's maybe only $10,000, the deal could still work. I've had cases like that I bought something that had a junior lien on it, paid that off, and then paid off the senior liens too, and still came out ahead. But you just need to make sure you're working with a competent title company and a competent real estate attorney on those deals. So, market's so tight now, you got to do some things to get a little creative on finding deals, and that's one way to do it. I think that's good advice, Joe.
So let me ask you this, because I was looking into the tax auction that's coming up. Can anybody recommend a title company? Because I kind of looked out there and I really didn't see anything as far as a title company.
Well, there's a number of title companies. All the abstract companies issue title.
Okay.
Depending upon the jurisdiction, if you get to some of the more rural counties, there's generally only one or two title companies or abstract companies, and they do everything out there. If you're in Monroe County, there's a handful of them, and they all issue title policies. But, and again, depends upon where you are. Now, you see, I also, without going too far astray, and the guy that can really talk a lot about it is Leon, because he taught it, and he was doing quite a business down in Texas on it. I was never that successful in Texas. But he turned out, he was quite successful, and down there, just follow along part of what we talked about at Carl's, the morning housing provider, is he bought a property I forgot, don't, I'm just gonna make up numbers. Do not hold me to numbers. But he bought it at, say, 100,000, I don't know. And the husband had not told the wife that it was in tax foreclosure. She flipped out. You know, he went over to the house because down in Texas, things are faster. Auction is over. Here's your deed. Have a nice life. So he walked over to the house, knocked on the door. The wife flipped. I think he got something. The husband redeemed it for within 2 days on the flight back. He redeemed it for something like 150 or 175,000. Because that's the penalty in Texas for it. So, yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, it depends on your jurisdiction. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. Leon was here earlier, but he must have dropped off.
He's having internet connection problems. He said there's an outage in his area in Webster, so he can only stay on for a couple seconds. So he gave up. He just wanted us to remember to mention the date of the picnic at the end of the meeting.
August
So.
19th, it's the third Thursday. It's not the second, it's the third, August 19th.
And we want everybody to RSVP, and it will be at the White House, right?
Correct. The White
Again,
House.
in Webster
Yes.
Park, White House.
That was the 19th.
Yes, August 19th.
All right. So does anybody else have any questions or anything that they want to talk about before we have Scott talk about what he wanted to talk about regarding partnerships?
So the policy, no mask at the party. I'm done with masks, dude. All right. So what's the deal?
You-
We're following New York State guidance. That was the decision that was made. So we'll cross that bridge on probably August 18th.
Right now it's looking good.
Scott,
Well-
you wanted to talk about the partnerships? Can you hear us?
You're muted, Scott.
I know.
Can't hear you. Is that you,
Yeah.
Scott?
Yep. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, here's some good news. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
What is it?
Now you can't see it. That's a phone. I know. I just got a notification. One of my units, one of my facilities, Unit 58 was just rented by Elena Valencia with the phone number. ... So that's how the self-storage business works. You get automated. You get, if somebody moves into your facility, you get a text message, notifies you. And I just got that 1 minute ago. So another cool feature of self-storage. I don't know if that's the same thing for you, Carl, but that's the way it works in self-storage. So,
That's awful.
it's terrible. I know. Okay, so tomorrow morning, they want me to give a presentation about partnerships and different partnerships and stuff. And I want to get input from everybody on here. What would you want to see? Like if somebody's going to talk to you about partnerships in real estate, what would you want to see, or what type of things you think would be good to cover? I'm going to write notes down. This is being recorded too. So actually, if you guys give me some input on what you think, what a partnership is, or different type of partnerships and things like that, I'd really appreciate you guys' help on that. And I actually will bring that up tomorrow morning. I talked to my local REIA group about partnerships. So if anybody has anything, I'd appreciate it.
Who here is partnered up with people? Or is even thinking about it?
When you structure a partnership under an LLC, you don't necessarily have to split it according to ownership. So you can structure your payout based on sweat equity or whatever you decide. It just has to be in the actual business structure when you set it up. So you can decide 1 year that if you both work equally, you can take an 50-50 split, or 33, 33, 33. If there's 3 people or whatever it may be, if one person says, I'm lazy this year and I don't care, I'm not going to do much, you can give them 5% and split the rest with the other members of the LLC. You don't have to keep the payout based on ownership share. You can split the dividend however you wish. So there's that. Yet another fun feature of having an LLC as opposed to some other corporate structure.
Well, Andy, before we get to that, let's talk about why and how you get into a partnership, right? A lot of partnerships don't work. So you want to go into a partnership that does work. And really it's about a sit down. You're going to have a game plan, discuss goals, expectations, who's doing what. All the bases are covered, right? Before you get into a partnership, it's got to be the right fit. Not all partnerships are the right fit. So you have to make sure it's the right fit. Everybody's needs to be synced together to be a partnership. My opinion, I've been through a couple of partnerships. Some failed, some worked. I'm taking it from my experience. So, let's start with that, and then you can get into the end, who gets what.
One of the things that I've done, because I do partnerships, my main thing more than anything else is going to be trust.
I'm going to agree with Joe. That
Big
was my
time.
one thought on it.
Absolute big
Trust
time
is-
right there. That's the main thing.
Because that will solve 99% of your issues. Okay. And so that's the thing. I've had a lot of people who want to partner up, and some people I will, some people I won't. And it's I just because I've had partnerships that have failed in doing different ventures. And Carl, you're 100% right. You have to figure out who's going to do what. But what I learned is that if both of you two trust each other, sometimes you're going to do more work than others, and then sometimes they're going to do more work than you. But if you're all on the same page, we all know no matter what, they know that you're going to kill yourself for them to get the work done. It makes life so much easier. That's my main thing. I can't trust you, 1% doubt, I'm out. See ya.
Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely. I've been in a number of partnerships. Some were great, some were disaster. I had one in Florida that started beautifully, and I kicked myself. I tried to treat the person more than fairly and protect them, and they turned. So it was a real problem, and there was a house stuck in the middle, and it was something about fixing it. And I said, is it going to fall down before I pay to fix it? Which was unfortunate. I mean, we did eventually get it solved. We didn't get it solved. I just, at some point, I paid enough to get the hell out of it and fix the house and made money. I mean, I made money all along, but the trust is, and I tried to treat the person more than fairly and protect them, and it didn't go well.
I think let's look at partnership. I mean, it's not just a hand here or hand there. It's a development of a relationship. Just like your money lender and you partnership, right? It's developing that relationship. Develop the relationship, and then it becomes a partnership. I think you guys understand what I'm talking about. And then from there, deals happen. But going in cold turkey into it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And on the other hand, let's talk about things that don't work with a partnership. And I can attest to this. Family or friends really don't work as a partnership. Tell me your stories. Go ahead. I have a couple.
It's funny. Yeah.
I will say, Joe Lavavera, I guess I'm not insulted why you'd never become a partner with me. I never understood why.
I will always partner with
Wait,
you.
wait,
Oh,
wait,
I've
wait,
partnered with you.
wait. Scott, we have a partnership on the deck. We've yet to figure it out because you and I got a partner in something.
absolutely.
And in storage, in the storage gig, I'm with you on that. So I'm a partner. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scott's big time now. He forgets us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. 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 I can't even carry your money bag, Joe. It's so big, you know, so I don't have a, what is it? The armored truck to drive around like you do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Guys.
That's a good point on the family and friends. You're right. It's, I've been in a partnership with a family member, and it worked out okay, but we found out that we were better family members than we were business partners. We'd help each other, to the end of time on things, and just the partnership just didn't work out. So we ended the partnership. We're still great friends and still great family members. Just the partnership thing just wasn't working out. So that's a good point what you bring up there, Carl. And Andy, I really liked the idea, and I didn't even think of that with the LLC. You actually can change the partnership levels. It's still 50-50 partner, but the payout and stuff like that, you can change that from time to time, right? Is that just a
Yep.
simple? You
Yeah.
change the documents.
I want to put a proviso on that. That was my understanding and is my understanding. And I had one partnership I had. That's the way we did it. And then that attorney passed away very suddenly. And we wound up with a large firm. I think it was, I forget the name. They're out in Brighton, right on Winton Road. Begins with an E, but I forget the firm. Very, very reputable, very good, whatever. And they absolutely said no. It had to be according to even divisions, because there were 4 people in it. 4 people had to be divided in quarters.
They're out of their minds.
That was their version, and they held to that, and we did that. And frankly, I don't know, other things happened, but no. So it really depended. The attorney who was doing our accounting on the first version, yes, on the sprinkle theory, and the CPAs and high-powered firm, absolutely not. Eldridge Fox Proietti, that was absolutely not. Couldn't do it that way.
They're out of their minds.
Sprinkle method.
Yeah, so it's the sprinkle method that it's, you sprinkle like a watering can or rain, so, a watering can, so much goes over here, and, another deal, maybe so much goes over there. But it did not have to be divided equally.
Okay.
What do you do about spouses?
I'm sorry?
So what about spouses as partners?
In my opinion, if you're not a partner with your spouse.
Yeah, I got news for you.
You want a divorce?
It's a senior partner. Yeah.
That's a senior partner, right?
Yeah, so it supersedes all other debts and liens.
Who asked that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Leslie asked it.
It's a serious question. It really is. And
your spouse is kind of your partner anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But do you include your partner, or do you officially go into business with your partner, or should you?
If they're doing the same thing, yeah. I mean, if they have the interest in doing the thing, yeah, I would say yes.
The biggest thing is that you don't get the tax advantage of a partnership if you're partnering with somebody that lives in your house as your spouse. You're still going to end up filing it as a pass-through, even if it's 50-50. So there's other reasons to do it, like one of you dies, the LLC doesn't cease to exist. So there's that. But there's other things. You need to get a really good like corporate structure attorney that's familiar with real estate deals and stuff if you're going to go down that road, and just talk about it. Just like anything else, talk to your professional people, because not all lawyers are created equal. Not all tax accountants are created equal. The laws, you know, there's still lawyers out there who will not help people write like operate under an LLC period because they think it's a pile of crap. They're out of their mind. They're wrong, but they exist. They're out there, you know?
Well, what Leslie brings up on a partnership with your spouse, let's say you're going to form an LLC. I don't know, they're probably state law specific, but yeah, in some cases, it's like if a female is 51% owner and you're 49, you're considered a female-owned business, and there's some benefits of doing that, right? Or am I wrong?
No, not anymore. So they've
Okay.
amended all the laws in almost every state in the union now, where if the woman in the business is the majority owner, she has to prove that she also is an active employee drawing active wages and actively making decisions for the business on a day-to-day basis, or they will kick you out and fine you if you've tried to get jobs and stuff that way. So that used to be the way it is no longer the way it is.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Anybody have any suggestions on how many partners you should have? Like a limit? Like just 2 or 3?
Again, when you structure it, it depends on how they go in. Some could just be silent partners, some could be active partners, some could be there just for the money and the dividend. And that's where that flexibility of being able to do it under the LLC, you can divide that up, not just by ownership stake, but by, you know, skin in the game. But again, a good corporate attorney who understands how to do that, that's 3/4 of the game, because your business attorney should not also be your real estate attorney, because structuring an LLC for an actual business venture outside of holding properties or something is a very different animal than operating like a parent corporation that's going to do crazy dividend splits and everything else. Like, I don't want to say that real estate lawyers are not qualified to do LLCs, but you're going to get better results with a corporate LLC that's in a corporate practice.
What about spouse is different because you're married. What about like kids? You know, we all should get along with our kids and stuff like that, but it's almost like family. Do you probably in some cases you probably want to form a partnership with your kids, versus just, you know, friendly handshake. It probably varies, but I'm trying to think of some instances where you might want to form a partnership with your kid instead of just like a handshake partnership.
Aren't there some-
Ask Andy, I'm sure his kid partner's talking now.
He doesn't get a say. He's only 8. He's got to be at least 18 before I do any deals with that guy. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and I can still throw him pretty far.
Aren't there LLCs that you can make for the family, like a family? I don't know if those FL family. I can't remember
business?
what it was.
What's that?
There are different ones for different states. So like, just like there's family trusts and whatever irrevocable trusts and all those things, there are different things for LLCs, but not every state has them. And honestly, I've only worked in like LLC formation and learning all of that crap when I opened my consulting firm. So like all of the stuff with the partnerships and the BS is because of all the research I did. But when it comes to real estate LLCs, that's a you know, a Steve question or a Jamie Kane question. It's not an Andy question. And as far as the family LLCs and stuff, those are, as far as I understand it, all the sub LLCs are still new and not every state recognizes them. So.
Well, I think those are 2 different things, Andy. I forget the name where you have one LLC with a bunch of children LLCs under it. I forget.
Oh, it's called a series LLC.
Series, yes.
Yeah, it's a series LLC.
Series LLC. But I think a family business is a separate entity that, but is a family. I mean, it is a family. Parents, children, grandchildren, and it's run as a family business. And that is something separate.
I'll do a little
Initially,
research on
they
that.
have, that I'm told is where the real money is.
You know, Scott, one of the things that I saw, I knew these two guys who were partners, and one partner was getting burnt out and wanted to slow down, and then the other one didn't. And eventually it caused some serious, I mean, they're friends, but they're not partners anymore. Because one of them was just like, okay, I just want to slow down. And one of the things that I tell people is that if you're going to be a partner, figure out what that other person wants, and then say, okay, figure out, obviously if you're partnering up with somebody who's going to be older, or maybe they're thinking, okay, I only want this for a couple more years, and you've got somebody who's hungry and ready to go and wants to go, ate to faint, that's going to cause some serious issues. And so, because the other guy was just so burnt out, and he was like, I'm done, I'm out. And so he was just like, toward the end, he was doing a lot of the work, and it just started causing a lot of animosity. So that's another thing I always try to tell people about that, because figure out where you're at and where you want to end up and how fast.
I think that, is it Carl whose quote on that is, when you form the LLC, you also have to form the divorce. That you have to have your divorce.
My brother said that a few times, when you form the LLC, plan for the divorce, that's the partnerships I've formed. We have in there's in a lot of cases 3 different ways you can decide how to dissolve the partnership. And so and get that out in the open early. You never want it to happen, but that's a good statement. I wrote that down. I thought about that, Joe, as you were starting to say that. I'm like, okay, yeah. So
and in regards to that divorce thing either, I did a partnership once with somebody, and it ended up costing me, because I didn't do that, because I just basically, because of trust, and ended up costing me probably, I don't know, $70,000, $80,000. So it's an expensive lesson. So that, what you just said, yes, you're gonna get married, but plan for the divorce. 100% correct. I would have saved myself some money. It was an expensive.
So what do you guys think of joint ventures? Just
Same thing.
it's kind of a one function, one deal partnership. Would you look at it that way?
It could be. It could be one. It's just a structure. To my mind, that's a structure. It can be one deal. It could be 20 deals. It depends upon how it was structured, but a lot of joint ventures are, these ones I've been in, are LLCs. They could do one transaction or 50 transactions.
Yeah. I had a guy that we hired to do a painting. This was literally last week. We hired him 3 weeks ago, and he says, I want to do work for you. Matter of fact, I want to partner up with you. I want all your projects. We're going to make a ton of money. We're going to take a ton of money. Well, 3 weeks into a 1 week project, ended up firing him. And I knew right from the get-go, I was not going to do any type of partnership with him in any way whatsoever. No JV, no nothing. I was like, not a chance. I ended up firing him from the job. And this was literally last week. And
Well, let's define joint venture. That's something that intrigues me. Joe, maybe you can elaborate on that. What's joint venture?
Joe? I'm not sure, Joe. Just what the name is. It's a.
I mean, what's the difference between a joint venture and a partnership?
I would take them to be I would think that there's two ways to look at it. One is from a legal perspective. A partnership is one particular legal form of, one particular legal entity, the way the papers are written, the paperwork, legal paperwork involved for a partnership, as opposed to a joint venture that is a different set of paperwork, and that tends to be more, at least the ones I've done are more LLCs. No, I take it back. The paperwork on the top says joint venture. Yeah, no, it says a joint venture.
And they're usually project specific. You're not forming a company necessarily. You're just working together as two separate companies on a project.
Right.
Bingo.
So a joint venture, both parties wouldn't be within an LLC.
No, not together. They'd be their own separate LLCs with their own separate ownership stakes, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
That sounds a lot safer.
It's a short-term thing. If you like it, you do another JV later.
Actually, that would be a Steve question. I don't know. Because the ones that, let me think, the ones I did, I wanted to use my LLC and he did not like it. So yeah, because I wanted the LLC for liability, and he did not want the LLC as one of the members of the joint venture. So yeah, I don't know about the liability on it. It's a good question.
Cool. Anybody else have any input on partnerships? Especially new people. We like to definitely hear from you guys and what you're thinking and what your thoughts are.
I guess I would be, if I was going to go into a partnership with somebody, which I don't really know anything about partnerships, but one of my main concerns that you, Scott, touched on too is what happens if the other person becomes incapacitated or passes away. I would want to see if there was any type of life insurance or disability insurance that would kind of cover that partnership possibly.
So that's usually in the actual operating agreement of the LLC when it's drafted. So you file your paperwork for the LLC, you get your license from the state. Within 30 days of being approved, you have to generate an operating agreement, at least in most states. Delaware doesn't require one unless there's more than, I think, 3 people or something like that. So you draft an operating agreement. In the operating agreement covers all that stuff. From an insurance standpoint, you can, and this happens all the time with corporations that have senior people that if they die, it'll financially impact the company. The company can take out life insurance policies, et cetera, that will pay to the company when such person passes. And that's a normal part of doing business. And there's other types of insurance you can get there too, like business interruption insurance. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do to make sure that if something falls apart, the company is still liquid and still has cash flow the way it needs to operate for its employees and its stakeholders. So all that stuff is there. Again, really good corporate attorney is what you need to find. If that's the road you're going to go down, find somebody who's good at corporate structure and has those connections. Again, a real estate attorney is not gonna go down in the weeds with that stuff.
I'm thinking of the ones that I've been in, and the recent one, it had a buyout. If somebody passed away, their shares stayed in their estate. But the beneficiary was non-voting unless the members that were left decided to bring them in as a voting. And then they would be paid, the estate would be paid out according to the original deal. But it does not address Joe's issue, which is a very good issue, particularly it's a very good issue. People change their minds. Their interests change, their life changes, and
You can usually, there's stuff for that too. You just draft it into the operating agreement to cover all that stuff and how that has to work. And you have to, usually, unfortunately, it involves hiring a valuation company to come in and look at the value of the assets in the company and all that crap. But
I would not think in these cases that's going to be what happens.
Oh,
I mean,
I came in.
It's a major corporation when you're bringing that in, or it's a good sized business entity when you're bringing that in, not a small real estate partnership or joint venture, in my opinion.
Andy, you mentioned insurances. You said life insurance, and then was there like a business partnership insurance or something?
business continuity insurance. So like the pandemic hits and your cash flow is impacted because you're not collecting your rents. Insurance there is, and it doesn't, I don't think it exists for rent specifically, but there's insurance you can get where you have to open your books and show your documentation that you make X amount of money per month or quarter or whatever the fiscal period happens to be. And you can take out an insurance policy where you pay a certain amount every month or every quarter or every year to make sure that if something happens and your income drops, that the insurance company will write you a check for X number of reasons. And you just have to kind of, again, find the right contacts and connections and pay the money for the insurance. Like anything else, you don't pay your premium, you don't get your money. So
Yeah, business interruption insurance. And Brown, I forget Brown's first name. Pat, is it? Who is involved with that? He's a vendor member. He's on the website. But yeah, you have a key person insurance, and you can buy a policy for a life insurance policy on a key person. Absolutely.
Now, what about, like, I know, like, if you form a partnership with a business, and it doesn't matter if you have 1% ownership, the other person has 99% ownership. If there's unpaid taxes or wherever the heck it is, it's going to happen. I know they do that on businesses. I don't know about real estate. Hopefully, I'll never have to find out about that. At the same time, if you have a 1% stake, and let's just say you owe $100,000 in taxes or whatever the heck it is there for the business, they'll go after the person with the 1% because he's got the most money.
That's
Is that
correct.
the same thing on real estate? And if it's the business,
Yep. State wants their money. The state has senior lien position. They don't care where they get it.
so if I partner up with Scott, and Scott, said, Joe, I'll give you a deal. I'll give you 5%. I'll take 95%. And then the government says, okay, they can come after me because I've only got 5%, even though Scott has 95%.
Yep. They wants their money.
Wow.
I get letters from the state on a LLC that owes money. And it's a whole different story. They owe money, but the attorney, when they set it up, used my address. And they keep sending me dunning letters and threatening letters. And I call them. I have called them so many times. And I said, the best part about it is I am no place on the documentation other than the attorney used my email. I knew the people, and they go, well, do you know where we can find them? I said, yeah, with some kind of luck in jail. do a scan. I mean, two of them were crooks, miserable so-and-sos. But
Joe, they're not going to believe you. How many people tell them they don't live here? They hear that a million times a day.
Yeah, I know. And I said, look at go check your records. No place in the documentation am I an owner of that. But we set up 2 or 3 at the same time with similar names. And one of them was mine. And the attorney used my address for everything.
Wow.
So, fortunately, I don't have to worry about it. And I've told them so many times, I don't know it, good luck. Track them down. One place I'd look is in South Carolina or North Carolina. One place is in Florida. But I'm not on it. I'm sorry. Too bad. But yes, they will go after a 1% owner for the entire thing.
Wow.
Andy, just for verification, were you saying that it's best to go to a corporate lawyer to set up your LLC?
Just a attorney that deals in business structuring and business law. That's all. And it doesn't, like the guy I used, he's a business lawyer in Albany, and he specializes in working with startups. But he also practices in Delaware. So when I set up my corporation, he was able to get all that crap done. All in everything, I was out less than $1,700. So that was everything. That was filing in Delaware. That was the licensing for New York State. That was all of the LLC requirements for New York, for advertising in the paper, all that crap.
Okay, sounds pretty good.
Actually, that does sound good, yes. Yeah.
Now, Andy, I've got a Delaware LLC, and which they made me form years ago, which now I pulled everything out of there. But I mean, do you like the Delaware LLC better than a New York State LLC, or it doesn't matter?
I do, for one reason. Delaware gives you something called charging order protection. So charging order protection is if you get in a car accident, not related to work, and you have a business that's worth, $1 million or $3 million, has $2 or $3 million in assets in it, and they find it in public records in New York State as part of a personal suit against you, the owner, they can try to tap the equity and ownership stake of your business. They cannot do that in a Delaware LLC. You get in a car accident, they can't sue you and win for the value of your business. That's the only advantage to doing the Delaware LLC.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's a question, because I've been considering forming a couple new LLCs, but they would be out of state. They'd be out of New York. So
It's still a pain in the butt, because you got to do the foreign entity registration and the franchise fee or whatever it is every couple of years, and you still got to pay money to Delaware and all that crap. But overall, I like the idea of, and I don't have real estate, so for me it hasn't been an issue. But I have not. I did it just to make sure that whatever I ended up with in the bank and the business and in the business accounts and all of that kind of stuff just can't be touched by anybody.
Now, if I understand it right, and Carl, you probably know the answer to this going to landlording. If you take somebody to eviction court and the LLC that owns the property, an attorney has to represent you, but it has to be a New York State LLC, right? In order to go to eviction court?
Correct. LLC, New York State LLC registered. So if you're Delaware or whatever state, it ain't gonna work. No, if you register in New York State as an LLC for you to conduct business in the court of law, New York State.
Well, you register when you file with the Department of State, so you have to do that legally. That's actually
Andy, a lot of people don't. That's the problem.
Oh, right. Yeah, but you can do it.
They never did that.
Yeah, you have
They
to
went to
register.
Delaware,
eviction
they
court,
went to this,
Andy.
and they went to that, they went to Nevada, they this and that, and they overseas,
Yeah.
nothing in New York State. So there was a lot of correction that happened in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And of course, the courts caught on to that and denied or dismissed cases because they found out that they were not registered as a legitimate business in New York State. They do the search here. Yes.
Right, but you can use the Delaware LLC. You just have to make sure that you're registered as a foreign entity in New York and licensed to do business. You have to have that certificate with a New York State number on it, which then you still need to do the publication and all that other stuff, which is why for most people who are doing a lot of LLCs, just opening one in New York is a hell of a lot easier. And you can own all those LLCs with the Delaware LLC, and you still have the protection from having your stuff, that you do personally come back on your businesses. So.
But yeah, and the problem that we ran into is many of the foreign investors didn't know that. They had no clue, and they were just guided down this path of whatever. And they found out eventually that they needed to do the New York State verification.
This is why you need to get a good corporate attorney when doing LLCs and not a real estate attorney. Let me say it again. Don't use a real estate attorney to structure your businesses. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Pardon my French.
How do you really feel, Andy?
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like beating a dead horse, bro.
I was in a partnership with somebody, and we both had life insurance. The LLC paid for the life insurance for both of us, because if something happened to me, my partner didn't want to be in business with my wife, and vice versa. If something happened to him, I didn't want to be in business with his wife. Not that we didn't like our partners' wives, just we had life insurance, and it was half of the value. We evaluated every year. It was half of the value of what we thought the business was worth. That just made things pretty simple. And the insurance was pretty cheap, actually. It wasn't bad at all. It's just a cheap term insurance that we got. And I like that. In another partnership that I'm in, one of the divorce clauses is if one or the other of us wants to sell our interest, we have to pay for an appraiser to appraise the value of the property or properties. Like if I wanted to sell out, I'm like, I'm done. I want to sell my interest to you or to somebody else. I have to pay for that appraiser. Now, if they don't agree with the value that my appraiser put on the property, they can pay for their own appraiser if it's a 50-50 partner. And that was interesting. Somebody drew that into a partnership agreement, and I hadn't seen that before, but I was like, yeah, it makes sense. And then if there's a big discrepancy on the value, then it actually goes to court, and we hope it never comes to that, but it's kind of drawn in the partnership agreement. It's one of those divorce, prepare for the worst type things.
Yeah, I had something like that on one of mine, and I thought, and I'm not one's better or worse than the other, but each would, the one party would pay for their appraisal, the other party didn't agree, get a own, and if those two did not agree, they both jointly got a third appraisal, and kind of blended the three appraisals to value, and instead of having to go to court. So
Yeah, the other option was to average the two, was to just put the two together and average it. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but the theory there was the one partner is going to, whichever one it was going to try to influence a low appraisal and the other one being high. So they thought a third appraisal would negate some of that, some of the direction on steering or influencing the appraised value.
Cool.
I told myself that I would just come on today and just listen and not talk much today, but I figured I'll just contribute in one way or another today. I think the idea of a partnership is great for all of the reasons that everyone just mentioned and discussed. But just to play the contrarian here for a second, I think that it's important, and Scott, you may want to mention this in your presentation, it's important to ask yourself, do you have the mentality that's conducive to actually being a partner? And this may take some self-reflecting. And in these questions, you may want to, ask, do I need a partner? Is it beneficial to me? What do I bring to the table? Whatever I'm going into that partnership for, have I considered
actually doing this for and by myself first. I think like these are like questions that you could ask yourself, because a lot of people go into business or go into romantic relationships for the right reasons, but if you don't have the right mentality that's conducive to being a good partner, I don't think it's gonna work at the end of the day. So again, I think that all of these things that we discussed is, well, what you guys discussed is, you know, great aspects of being a partner, but I do think that someone has to like self-reflect and ask, do they think that they'll actually make a good business partner, and is their mentality set to be a good partner? Because we all know, as you discussed, it demands understanding, having a, you know, open dialogue, the communication being there, expectations, and I think a lot of people run into problems because maybe their head is in the right place, but the
Actually,
other
I
person's-
like that. That's a very good idea.
Awesome point.
Oh, thanks.
And I like the communication. Yeah, that's, because I'm thinking of the ones where I had problems, and particularly the one is like, yeah, there was, I had expectations, they had expectations, and so there was not a lot of.
Well, Joe, let me explain.
Yeah,
So
no,
bringing
excellent point.
something to the yes, bringing something to the table. The partnerships each needs to bring something different to the table. Typically, it's silent partner versus an active partner, right? So you have a lender versus I'm going to do all the work kind of thing. What doesn't work is two contractors kind of partner together to buy a property. That doesn't work. It's got to be separate kind of interest into the transaction. Money versus active participation that I have found out. Right. So everybody comes into the transaction with their own individual needs. If they want to come into the transaction with their own same expectation, that's not going to work. Won't work. Right. Somebody has to contribute something different from the other person, in my experience. Anybody else?
So,
No, yeah, I would agree. It's the expectations you want to be the same, but the contribution being differently. People want to agree what they're expecting at the end.
I've had partners say me, because, you know, like I'm terrible when it comes to figuring out color schemes and decorating. They're like, Joe, stay in your lane. I'm like, no problem, because that is not my strength. Sometimes I'll start going, well, what about stay in your lane, Joe? Okay, not a problem. You know, it's not about ego. It's about getting to the end.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, that's great. Carsman, right? Is that how you?
Yeah, that's correct.
I appreciate
my dad was Jamaican, and he gave us those strange names. We always joke, we say he was probably smoking the ganja when he named us, but that's where it originated from.
Well, nobody will forget your name, that's for sure.
I got to tell a story, Karsman. I don't know where that came from, but I have a tenant called Samaj, right? And I go to him, I go, where'd that come from? My mother was in the hospital and she decided to name me James backwards.
Wow.
Samaj. It was crazy. But let me ask you a question, Karsman. You offered some great insight to the conversation here. So where are you with the your investment endeavors and partnership relationships? What's going on?
Well, I mentioned a few weeks ago, I flip homes. I've done about 20 here in Rochester. And I think partnerships is important. That's why I'm here, to actually just pick brains. And I think I know a bit, but you never know enough. But I'm actually looking for properties like a lot of people are in here. But since I started, I've always used my own personal funds, which I've talked to a few people and they said, you know, that's an absolute no. So I'm actually looking to kind of branch out and tap into some private lending because it'll allow me to not only do what I have been doing, but actually pick up some of my activity a little bit. But again, I usually do about 2 to 3 a year. And right now I just hit my my third one. I completed it. So just to answer your question, that's where I stand with my real estate endeavors currently.
Well, good for you. So what triggered you to get into this business? What was the impetus? What set you up?
Well, like a lot of stories that I've heard here in my short time, by sheer accident. My primary job and profession is education, and I was accepted into grad school at UB back in my 20s. So I moved back to the Buffalo Niagara area, and I bought a two unit home. I has always been okay with saving money, but nonetheless ended up buying a 2-unit home. While I was going to grad school, I lived in one section of it and I rented the upstairs out for the year that I was in grad school. And once I graduated, I rented both units out for about 7 years, collecting about $700 a month in each unit. And once I sold that property for more than I actually bought it for, the light bulb kind of went off for me, and I said, hey, you know what, it's kind of something in this real estate thing that I actually like. So to answer another one of your questions, kind of just by sheer accident. Sorry, my battery's running low here.
Oh no, that's it.
Yep.
You found that it worked. Your model worked. It happened. You just repeat it, right?
Which kind of brought me to one of my thoughts. You know, I've always kind of done it on my own, and that way has kind of worked for me up until this point because I want to do other things. But sometimes doing it on your own isn't always a bad thing. You have the autonomy to do what you want to do. You don't have to explain anything to anyone. So again, that took me back to my premise. Sometimes a partnership isn't necessarily ideal for some people, depending on what you're trying to do. But I always think having the resources and the knowledge out there and being able to get input and feedback from other people is important. I found that even though I've done a lot of things myself, I would not have been able to made it anywhere close to where I am without the help of other people. So again, I do believe that a partnership is extremely important.
Yeah, oh, I agree. We always need somebody else. Somehow. I mean, without getting carried away, but it's, it can do a lot more with somebody than doing everything alone.
2 hands is better than one.
Even if it's an idea.
Especially right now when you're trying to find properties, sometimes working with a partner is a heck of a lot easier. Because that way you can divide and conquer. There's 2 of you looking for properties versus just all by yourself.
Yeah, a lot of times 2 minds are better than 1 too. You know, you got different views on things, and you know, you're sharing ideas and stuff. So no, Carsman, what you said was really powerful, and that's something that, you know, some of the coaches I've worked with and stuff are like, hey, do you really need this partner? But they also said, look at what you're not good at, you know, but you gotta be honest with yourself. What are you not good at? Like, I know what I'm not good at in self-storage, and I'll lean on partners who are good at that stuff. They just eat that stuff up. Yeah, I did the same with some real estate partnerships too. It's like the bookkeeping part of the rental real estate and stuff, I can do it, but I just wasn't good at it. So I would partner up with people who were better at it. And managing contractors and stuff, I could do it, but there was just other people better at it than me. So that's why I'd partner up with them.
And
But-
Scott, that in itself is very powerful. Knowing what you actually don't know and finding someone else who can do that for you and making your job easier. I think doing that reflection and being able to accept the fact that you don't know some things is could actually be an advantage more than a disadvantage.
Wow. Well, I feel a lot better about my presentation tomorrow morning now than I did an hour ago, that's for sure. A lot of good stuff here. Thank you, everybody, for sharing that. I know, and you know, I know the weather's nice up there in Rochester. It's nice here in Virginia. And anybody who wasn't on this call, I think you missed a tremendous amount. I mean, what we shared here, there was some real powerful things said here. And it's, you know, maybe kind of open some eyes and thoughts to partnerships and how to structure them and stuff. So that was awesome. I mean, I could keep talking about this, but I want to give other people a chance to talk. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to explain to me what you think partnerships are and reflecting and thinking about the divorce and all that. It'll make my presentation a lot easier tomorrow morning. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Scott, I kind of missed, I think I missed that. I came in late. What's happening tomorrow morning, your presentation?
I have just a group of investors that I deal with, and tomorrow morning they wanted me to give a presentation on partnerships because they know, like, I own 6 facilities in 5 states, and they're all in partnerships, and a piece of land is in another state. And they go, "Hey, we want you to talk about partner," and I'm like, you know, okay, I don't know really what to talk about, you know, when it comes to partnering. So in the beginning, I asked, hey, I want to get people's input on partnering, and that's how this whole conversation.
Well, Scott, all these deals that you did, think about why you wanted or needed that partnership. I think that'll be a big help. You have 5 or 6 deals with partnerships. I'd be interested to know why you needed that partnership, and that's really important.
Cool. Thanks. Andy, I have a question for in the chat. There's a bunch of chatter in the chat. And can I copy and paste that or something? I want to take time and read that later. I don't really want to read it now. Is there a way
I can send it to you.
Okay, cool.
Once the meeting is done and it rips, I can send it to you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So lots of good input from Greg Brooks, who usually isn't a quiet one, but he's a chatter, and I appreciate his chat. He put some good stuff up in the chat box, and I want to read later.
He tests the boundaries.
Yeah, he's that silent ninja. It's like, okay, what's Greg up to? What's Greg looking? Cool. What anybody else have any questions? I dominated pretty much 45 minutes of this meeting, and I appreciate it. But anybody else have anything they want to bring up or add or questions and such? So
Nope.
Everybody knows everything they need to know about real estate. Really? That's why I'll never leave this group. As long as we can Zoom. If you go back to virtual or to real meetings, I may not be able to attend them, but I will never leave this group. I've just gotten so much from this group. I know quite a bit, and I'm willing to share, but every time I jump on that, I mean, how much did we all learn tonight? I mean, the seasoned guys, Joe McGuire, you're probably the most seasoned real estate investor on here. I mean, I think you picked up a thing or two tonight.
It was very good. Yeah, it was very, very good. I love Carsman's contributions. They're excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about this, because regardless of how many years you got in, you always learn something new, right, Joe? Always something new, almost every day.
And the only thing I will say is the law is what the judge says it is, not in the book.
Yeah, now it says in black and white. It's what the judge says it is. Yeah.
I don't care
That's
what the regulation says. It's what the judge says.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true.
And I
That's so
learned
true.
that years and years ago. I mean, years ago, on a guy I knew who was trying to evict in Virginia, and he lived in Florida, I think. Eviction wasn't going through, wasn't going through, kept being delayed, stalled. And his attorney finally said, wait till after the election before we redo this. And that's why this guy hasn't paid. And it was because he votes in the state. You don't. That was it. Election was over, judge was reelected, eviction within a week.
So weird.
Well,
Hey, did y'all see our governor's got what, $5.1 million to play with now based on his book deal he got? Did y'all see that?
His book deal that sold 13 audiobooks, that book deal?
Yeah.
I wish I could get $5.1 million to have 13 people buy my book.
Yeah.
that's all that bought it.
40,000 copies and 13 audiobooks was all that it sold. And the guy
Really?
got paid, like they're upside down like $4.5 million on this book.
Really?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. If you don't think there's some
Oh.
sort of corporate graft, corporate bribery
Yeah.
going on there.
So Andy, Scott doesn't know about what happened today with the mayor. Maybe you want to highlight that?
Oh, Scott, you missed it. Was it today or was it last night? It was last night, wasn't it?
It was
Both.
last night today.
In the last 24 hours, what happened? I'm blind.
So her
Oh my God.
her husband was arrested on drug charges and they searched her house like all day yesterday. And then today she announced reparations and universal basic income for Rochester residents.
So Scott, it's a big major drug deal involving the mayor's husband and 7 other people. It's big time. 2 kilos of cocaine, guns, drugs found at her house. Some things are found at her house. Oh, it's going down big time. This happened within the last 24 hours.
Wow.
That's why she got that's why she got the universal basic income and the reparations out there, because she can draw some attention away from her criminal activity.
Well, I don't think that was found in her house, though.
No, there was a automatic shotgun and a shotgun found in her house.
Yeah, there was one long gun found in her house, yes.
Not the drugs. The drugs were in the car.
In
Going
the
to the
house, in the
deal.
driveway?
The what?
No, I didn't, I mean, I don't follow it, but I was trying to be a little fair on it, that,
Wow.
Yeah, they had
I thought
a
the
couple
only
guns
thing,
in the house.
yeah, I thought the only thing was the one long gun, but I don't follow it there. So.
It don't matter. It's serious crap, man. We're talking about the mayor and the mayor's husband going down.
Wow.
Yeah, but how long did it take for them to get rid of Estacio? So let's just remember that and go, Lovely's getting reelected, and just move along.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, just so you know, this was a result of a 7-month investigation. Nothing happened. There was surveillance for 7 months. Came to this.
Wow.
They took them down as they were going into a drug deal. It was a big drug deal, 2 kilos in the car, and they had all this information. So they took them down en route, and a lot of people went down. And there's more coming down in this whole thing, according to the press. So we'll see. You're glad you're out of Rochester, right, Scott?
I miss you guys. I'm not afraid to admit that. I miss you guys like crazy. I'm glad we were able to jump on these Zoom calls. That's for sure.
We're glad you're on. That was a great subject tonight. We all learned.
That's our connection to you, bud. You're on the road again.
Don't forget us, Scott.
Yeah. Yep. Steve Young called me the what do you call me?
The world dominator?
No, laptop lifestyle. That's what I'm leading right now, is laptop lifestyle. So
Nice.
Yeah. So
Oh man. Well,
all right. What else? What else you guys got? Come on, somebody give me something else good. Not that, but I mean, throw some questions out there. Anything you're struggling with other than finding houses, trust me, I know. I don't envy anybody. All I can say is if you're flipping houses, you should have contractors in there working 24 hours a day, man. Just get them houses done and get them sold, man. I just can't believe how hot that market is there. So.
Is it? I know it's
If
about.
if I could just add something before you go, Scott, I listened to the presentation last weekend. I think you did a great job, and that's one thing that I appreciate and I like about the group. Even though I do flipping, I think that everyone kind of brings their own unique twist. And even though I do nothing with storage, it's good to just listen to the different perspectives. I could do the real estate talk all day, and just being able to kind of expand my knowledge and listen to other stories is in my short time of being on here has been pretty beneficial. And I think with your presentation, if it's anything like the one last week, I think they'll walk away with a lot of feedback and knowledge. So good luck on that tomorrow. And I just wanted to let you know, I think you did a good job last week.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Cool. All right. So Joe, I'll let you wrap it up. I'll hang out for a while. So
I know we went a little over. Anybody wants to leave? Obviously, it's 8:30. We appreciate everybody being on here, and we'll hang out for a few more minutes in case you have anything else you want to talk about. Otherwise, thank you very much, and have a great night, and go do real estate.
All right, have a
here's
good night,
almost
guys.
half over. 2021 is almost half over, everybody.
I know.
That's right. So don't wait until 2022.
Okay.
So,
Have a good night, guys.
See you later, Carsman. It's great having you.
Yep,
here,
thanks.
Carsman. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
So
Joe, anything on that property? That commercial one I sent over to you? I didn't know anything about it. I just forwarded it to you. I figured something.
yeah, I have been so unbelievably buried today with stuff, and I wanted to call today, and then of course it never happened. I'll definitely call in the morning. I know it's listed, so I know it's not going to be something that's going to be how they are when it's listed. If it was off market, I would be like, oh man, So I mean, I have no idea I didn't see a price on there. It's got to be in the millions.
Yeah, I would think so.
All day long, multiple seven figures on that one, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I appreciate you thinking of me on that one, by the way. I'll call tomorrow.
All right. You can send me your finder's fee when you get it. So that's all.
I will.
Yeah, just had the Brinks truck just stop down by Roanoke, on its way through.
Right. You drive you have a mansion on wheels.
Yeah.
The back half is your vault.
Right.
So that's won't fit in there anymore.
Tell me, what's the main difference between residential and commercial property?
Taxes.
Oh.
In New York, it's taxes.
Are there a lot of different rules?
There's a lot of different, all kinds of stuff, Leslie. I mean, commercial could be, storefronts, could have commercial mix, storefronts with residential, could be, whatever, storage facilities like Scott does, or, different, other than residential, or anything over 5 units. Or actually 4. It's 4,
Yeah.
right?
5 or more, isn't it?
I thought it was 4.
Yeah, 5. I think it's 5 or more.
Is
I
it?
remember. I think over 4.
Could be 4 or more. I'm not sure.
You never know.
Andy, I see we have a new sponsor, vendor member, Tim. The lender.
Yeah. Yep.
Joe, you ever do business with him?
Tim Tompkins, yes, he's been around a long time. I used to do hard money loans with him years ago. He's actually extremely well connected.
Yeah.
He does a lot of business. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure he probably has enough connections, but he's probably worth reaching out to, because I think some people are going to start facing some hard times that he probably has hard money out with. He's going to be looking to get rid of those quick. So
It was a
get the
great
quickest guy up
connection,
there as far as I know. Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, that's the thing to think about. Leslie, you're still on. If you have, the big thing is you gotta have cash, but you might want to talk with some money lenders and say, hey, you know, I know that you might be taking some properties back. If you do, I'd be interested in buying them. And you still have a W-2, right, Leslie? You're still working a job?
Yeah.
See, that makes you bankable even, but you know, some of these private lenders are taking properties back, which I'm sure they are. They don't want to, but I'm sure they have to because the landlords can't make the mortgage payment because they aren't getting rent. So they might be taking properties back. There might be a pool there for you to reach out to, find out who the private money lenders are and talk to them. So, you know, they probably resell the property to you because you have a job that you can, you know, that you could use to supplement. So it's just another avenue for you. So
Yeah, and
Thanks.
there is a plan to Scott. You said something about the Zoom meetings. We are going to go back to in-person meetings, but they're going to have a Zoom component. So I'm making them. We're trying to find a venue that's got a good enough internet connection to do it, and it doesn't sound like a shit box while people are talking, so you can actually understand what they're saying on the other end of a Zoom.
mhm.
But the plan is to get that venue picked and then buy the appropriate equipment, whether it's like a TV and a couple of like little monitor speakers and a couple of headsets for people to talk with who are hosting the meeting or whatever, or something like that, or a microphone that they can pass around. But there is a plan to actually, at least for the general meetings, to have that. For these meetings, it's going to depend on the venue and the timing and who can get there with the equipment and set it up and all that, whether it's worth doing or not or whatever. So, because that's the one part that we missed. People were suggesting churches and these other places that live stream, which is great, but there's no interactive portion. You can't hear from the people in the audience. You can't talk to anybody. It's just viewing only. So it's like, well, that's half the reason to use it is gone right there. So
Sure.
yeah, so we're still figuring it out, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have some answers.
guys, I got to run over here. So
All right, cool.
you guys have a good night. Thanks, everybody.
See you,
Gotcha.
brother.
Good night.
Yep.
I'm going too.
And is there a possibility of finding a place that we could hardwire, do like an Ethernet connection with instead of doing a Wi-Fi connection with a laptop or something?
And that's what we're trying to do, is we're just trying to find a place that has a good enough internet connection, period, so that we can
Right.
get good connections both ways, because we have to have upload and download for Zoom.
True.
So, and you go to a restaurant, even if you're on Wi-Fi and they've got solid internet, the Wi-Fi connection usually sucks. It gets congested. It's all download, no upload, and you need both for Zoom. So it's like, it's a tough one, but people are chomping at the bit to go back to doing in-person live stuff. So, you know, we'll got to find a way to figure it out.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, we almost could find a place that's on like either Verizon BIOS on the fiber network or Greenlight networks or something like that.
Yeah, it would be really nice to find somebody who's got that kind of connection, but you know, that's the other side of it, is usually if they have that kind of connection, they don't have the space or they don't have the acoustics or something. So there's like 10 or 12 good candidates, and it's just going to come down to calling them and just saying, hey, here's what we want to do. Can we do it? Yes or no? Are we available on these days? And
Mhm.
I'm going to interrupt you guys for a quick second. I'm going to do a little test there and I'm going to leave. I think I can leave this running.
yeah, you can.
So hopefully it'll stay running. If not, sorry.
You're fine.
Okay.
But at least you didn't get cut off completely unexpectedly and then we're
Bruno.
okay.
Sounds good. Yeah, Andy. So if you get a chance, you can send me the chat. Like I said, I want to read the stuff that's in there.
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
time.
Yeah, it made me host. That's all it did.
Okay, cool.
So he left and it made me host. So easy enough.
Tony, what's going on? Is that Tony Smith's iPhone?
It is Tony Smith's iPhone. And Jim Bice is in here now too. And I Jim left. But I don't know if Tony's like actually at his phone listening or not because he hasn't.
No,
There he is.
I'm here. I'm here. I was helping my wife. But I'm here. How's
Nice.
everybody?
Good,
Good man.
good. Glad to see you here, Tony.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's kind of cool to get that. I'll forward you the message. All three of you guys are still on here. The message I get, the alert I get when somebody moves into a storage unit, it's pretty cool. You know, it's kind of like nice. You also
That
get
is kinda cool.
notifications when they move out, which is okay. You know, it's good to know that too. So, but I don't
Right.
get many of those, which is nice. So, yeah,
I know I sent you 1,000 of them, Scott, so you're probably gonna be pretty busy.
I'm gonna be pretty busy. You got that right. So, yeah.
Let
I
me
really
know.
liked it. I like that one on the surface, and I remembered. Oh yeah. A couple of my partners actually went and looked at that one. Like, man, that's a hell of a deal. And they got out there like, man, that thing almost needs to be knocked down.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
No, lots of square footage at like $10 a square foot storage. That's awesome. That's an awesome price. But
Tell them you want it for half price then.
yeah, even then, it was built like the 1950s. It's all like press board, you know, T111 board stuff. It's like,
Okay.
oh,
It would
Yeah.
basically be like rehabbing an interior of something at that
Yeah.
point.
exactly. Yeah.
Not in this market.
Nope.
Tired, Scott?
A little bit. Yeah, I didn't sleep well last night. I was excited to be talking to you today. So
You're so funny.
yeah,
You were excited to talk to Joe.
Now it's excited to talk to you. So
Make me laugh.
now I got all these things I got to put on a thing for my little presentation for tomorrow. But you know, the biggest thing is trust. You know, just that somebody you can trust. You know, somebody you can do business with. Often said, it may or may not sound right, but somebody who brags about cheating on their spouse, I would never do business with them.
Ooh,
Man, if they'll screw their wife, man,
they'll screw a business partner in a
yeah,
heartbeat.
that's what they'll
Yep.
do to you. So, yep.
Yep, in a
Right.
heartbeat.
Yeah, Randy, you may not experience it, and I don't condone it at all, but you know, guys just feel like they're all that when they start bragging about cheating on their wife. And I'm like, I'm done with this conversation. I don't want to continue. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so not cool. No, but no, it's really good. All this input I got from everybody tonight, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, tonight was a good meeting. Lots of good stuff came out again.
Yep.
So when we got it recorded, we'll probably use snippets, but we'll get them listed up. They'll be up next week.
Okay.
Oh,
Sounds
So-
good.
still waiting for your presentation to come back from the captioning company. So
Oh, okay.
once that comes back, it'll be easier to post. Like you don't want to post it publicly without the captions on it, and we don't want to put it on YouTube because it's not behind a paywall. So it's kind of like, all right, we'll wait.
All right, guys, I'm out.
Yeah,
All right, me
I'm gonna
too.
bail too.
Have a great
right.
night.
All right,
Catch
good
y'all
night.
later.
Bye.
See you, everybody.
See you,
So
everybody.
long.
Thanks. Bye.